Now, can you hear me? Oops. Well, I don't know why I did that. Okay. You can hear me, Amber? Janita, can you hear me yet? Okay, good. So I'm not going to touch anything because it gets messed up when I touch stuff. So I'm just going to shift this down. And it's 7:03, I think. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to night 3 in Fenhallow. We're back again to read the third chapter that I'm going to do before the launch, which is happening in 6 days. I can't even believe it. Things are really starting to get real. Where we left off yesterday, after chapter 2, the plan and other lies we tell ourselves, Lexi and Wyatt were having a conversation in the kitchen. We were learning a little bit about them and their family and the plan. And then they got kicked out to go do chores. So chapter 3 is Chores, Patience, and Mosquito Muck. And I'm just going to dive right in. So let me get comfy here. Lexi drew a shaky breath as they rounded the barn's corner, the day's horrors pressing down. Aunt Imogene attacked, Abraxas bear down. Dad, still missing. She frowned. Mom always told her to look for the positive. Well, Aunt Imogene was safe in the infirmary, and the bear was in healing hibernation. And Dad was... Her heart clenched as she tried to imagine him okay, but all she could see in her mind was the dad nightmare. Lost, alone, scared. She shook her head. They would find him, and worrying would only give her a headache. But every time she blinked, she saw the eye in the rift, watching. She needed to ask Aunt Imogene about that, but she couldn't do anything yet, not with her aunt in the infirmary and chores that needed doing. Trying to shake off her unease, she followed Wyatt inside. A massive whiteboard filled one wall of the office, neatly listing care instructions for Fenhallow's magical patients. The top of the board, labeled Main Barn, listed the most recent and urgent cases. Thick blue lines separated the rest of the board into 7 regions: Winterworld, Waterworld, Meadowmere, Noctis Vale, the Fen, Elderwild, and the Dunes. These were the wild places where patients were housed long-term until they were ready to return to their home realms. Wyatt stood before the board, a blue dry erase marker in his hand, initialing empty boxes next to the instructions. She admired the way his checks had such straight lines. Hers always looked scratchy and crooked. There's not really a lot right now. There isn't any Dunes or Noctis Vale. Frederick brought a Barbagazi into Winterworld from a mountaintop in Braxia this morning. I guess he sprained his foot trying to warn some hikers about an avalanche. What do you want to do? Chores? Really? Wyatt, a bear was attacked. Aunt Imogene is hurt. Her words came out sharp. Wyatt sighed. I know, but Mom is taking care of the bear. And I bet Rock got his grandmother to help Imogene. There's nothing we can do about what happened, but we can take care of things around here to make it easier on them. Why does he always have to act so grown up? Lexi wasn't fooled. She could tell he was dying to go check on the bear and their aunt. His furtive glances towards the door eased some of her frustration. Ichabel on duty. That's right. Rock's grandmother was the Rushkin healer, stern but compassionate. If Ichabel was working on Aunt Imogene, then Lexi knew she was getting the best possible care. She pressed her lips together, knowing he was right, but it still drove her crazy. Doing chores while something hunted travelers felt wrong, too normal, too small. She wanted to help fix things, and she was stuck being just a kid doing chores. Still, playing along would help keep her mind off things. She turned to the board. A Barbagazi with a sprained foot? Poor guy. Lexi loved the Barbagazis, squat dwarfs with big white beards and enormous feet like snowshoes. They zipped around the snowy mountains of Braxia. There's a tin of that fancy Belgian hot chocolate hidden in the pantry. I'll bring him some. Okay, Barbagazi for you. Wyatt put her initials in the corresponding box. I'll take the Meadowmere and the dunes. Dibs on the unicorn, Lexi called, grabbing a marker and adding her own initials to the board. I'll do the main barn and the garden, as usual. And it's your turn to do the fen, too. Don't forget the bug spray. Hey, wait, I did it yesterday. No way did she want to get covered in bug bites 2 days in a row. You snooze, you lose. Sorry, sis. Wyatt capped his marker. Wait, I'll play you for it. He paused, a calculating look in his blue eyes. The usual rules? Lexi nodded. You're on. He held out his fist. Lexi held out hers, and together they bounced them. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Lexi pointed her fingers to the floor, wriggling them energetically. Cockroach, she crowed. Nothing beats cockroach. Wyatt smirked, pointing his thumb and forefinger at her like a gun. You forgot about bug spray. He made a shh sound and mimed spraying pesticide all over Lexi's hand. I win. Have fun with the Jurassic mosquitoes. Fine, Lexi grumbled, marking her initials next to it on the board. Already your skin itched at the thought of all those bugs. Come on, Wyatt said. There isn't much to do. Then we can check on Aunt Imogene. And don't forget about the dining room table. Company's coming. He put his marker down. Okay, last one done has to help Sorcia with the supper dishes. Prepare to lose, sucker. Lexi gave her brother a brief wave and ran. Once she beat Wyatt out of the office, Lexi slowed to a walk, humming quietly to announce her presence. No need to sneak up and scare anyone. Since this was the first place most magical animals came after arriving at Fenhallow, scared and stressed because of their injuries, Mom kept the barn dim and quiet except for birdsong from outside and the gentle sound of music playing in the background. There was a sense of calm reverence here, like healing started in the air itself, before any medicine or potions. She walked to the end of the aisle to a door labeled Emoticorn, slid it back to reveal an empty stall, and slipped inside. There was a moment of dizziness that always tickled her stomach. The air seemed to shimmer like a heat wave, and the landscape transformed. Instead of a stall covered in shavings, she stood in a woodland thicket, complete with a small bubbling brook and an evergreen tree. It was like this in each stall. The landscape changed depending upon the needs of the creature staying inside. Hello, Lexi called softly. Are you awake? Something rustled in the bushes by the brook. A velvety muzzle poked out of the leaves, followed by the rest of a snowy white creature with cloven hoofs, a cute tufted beard on its chin, and a small spiraled horn growing from the center of its forehead. Her wispy mane, forelock, and long tail, puffed on the end like a lion's, were shot through with sparkling streaks of purple. Her sky blue eyes blinked slowly. The Emoticorn's ears were big like a fennec fox's, and she was so sleepy she could not swivel them properly. The one on the left kept drooping down while the other stuck straight out to the side. A giggle burst from Lexi's lips at the sight. The Emoticorn's eyes opened wide, and her ears shot straight up. A wave of surprise washed over Lexi, followed by happiness as the Emoticorn tried to prance towards her. She stumbled, though, broadcasting a bright stab of pain, and had to limp the rest of the way. Easy there, girl. You're not healed yet. Lexi met her halfway, kneeling to check the bright pink bandage wrapped around her left front leg. It was sound. Here, I brought you something. She pulled a baggie of squashed pink cotton candy from her pocket. The Emoticorn gobbled it up, even licking the plastic to get all the sugar bits. Pleasure and contentment filled the air. Lexi loved Emoticorns. The smallest subset of unicorns from the realm of Tinswift, they did not speak with words. They expressed themselves by projecting emotions outward. It wasn't a perfect communication system, but it was fun. I wish you could tell us how you hurt your leg, she whispered, then regretted it when a layer of fear squelched some of the happiness. It's okay, she continued, wrapping her arms around her as she cuddled her close. She hated seeing such a joyful creature in pain, as if some wrongness had leaked into their safe corner of the world. Nothing can get you here. I heard my mom say you only need one more potion to heal you completely. Then we can send you home. I bet you miss your family, don't you? Wistful hope threaded through with sadness. Don't worry, we'll get you home. In the meantime, she pulled a soft peppermint candy from her pocket and kissed the Emoticorn on her velvety nose. You eat this and get some more rest, and I'll be back to say goodnight, I promise. The Emoticorn with pleasure as she chewed. Lexi gave her one more kiss and left the thicket. She paused for a moment in the aisle to let the dizziness pass, then ran to the kitchen to get her parka and some hot chocolate for the Barbagazi. The entrance to Fenhallow's polar region was to the right of the barn at the tree line. A tall trellis of thick, twisted brown vines stood between two fat pine trees. A jagged wooden sign stuck to the top read "Winter World" in large black letters. Lexi zipped up her parka and stepped through to the other side. The air crackled around her like popping candy against her skin, and there was frost on her breath as it blew out of her mouth. To either side, a thick layer of snow now covered the branches of the squat pines. Before her, a neatly shoveled path led to the base of a high and beautiful snow-covered mountain. Lexi pursed her lips and tried to whistle, but in the sudden cold, nothing came out. She huffed a frozen laugh. Typical, her plans freezing up just like everything else today. She licked her lips and tried again. This time it worked. 3 sharp blasts. A return whistle pierced the air moments before a squat dwarf with a full white beard and dressed in ratty gray furs appeared from the trees partway up the mountain. He whistled again as he skied towards her, balancing on one enormous bare foot. The other he held out at a 90-degree angle from his body. Halfway down, his stubby arms windmilled and he tipped over, rolling the rest of the way. Gutter blast! He landed in a heap at her feet. Oh, are you okay? Let me help you up. Lexi bent to lend a hand, but the dwarf swatted her away. Get off, he grumbled, struggling to stand on his one good foot. What, you come to swipe me up like that good-for-nothing traveler? Think old Dom Digger can't take care of himself? I heard you twisted your foot trying to save a hiker. The least we can do is help you get well. Good-for-nothing hiker can't hear the rumble of an avalanche if his life depended on it. And it did. He would have been roll-splattered if it weren't for old Dom Digger, that's what. And this is the thanks I'd get. Swiped from my peaceful mountain and stuck in traveler jail. A travesty it is. I doubt a traveler would have kidnapped you. Didn't the Barbagazis ask to be part of the Council of Worlds? Travelers don't grab people against their will, you know. Well, he tempted old Dom with stories of mountains and clean, fresh air and treats. The dwarf crossed his arms and tried to tap his foot, but forgot and tapped the sore one. He fell over again with a howl. Lexi waited for him to stand, then stared pointedly around him at the glorious mountain full of fresh air. Lexi waited for him. He shifted uncomfortably. Yeah, well, the food's not so great. Not treat-worthy at all. Lexi held out a silver thermos she pulled from the inside pocket of her parka. I brought you something. Dom, is it? This is special hot chocolate from Belgium. The good stuff. The good stuff. Bah. But Dom swiped the thermos with his hairy fingers and opened it, tipping it back so quickly, drops of the thick brown liquid splattered all over his white beard. He let out a mighty burp and swiped the back of his hand across his mouth. Lexi bit her lip to keep from smiling. Is that better? Dom looked down, pointing at the enormously swollen big toe on his even more enormous left foot. My toe hurts, he muttered. She winced in sympathy. That did look painful. Did you take the potion my mother gave you? The dwarf's round nose grew red in a blush. He sheepishly pulled a stoppered yellow bottle from his furs. Don't like potion. Lexi put her hands on her hips. Do you want to go home? Dom nodded. Well, that potion is going to make you faster and get you home quicker, so take it. He frowned, staring stubbornly down at his good foot. Dom, Lexi scolded, please take it. Ah! He unstoppered the bottle and tipped the contents into his mouth. After a fierce grimace, his face melted into a look of surprise. You feel better, don't you? Lexi knew her mother always put a special pain stopper in her potions to make her patients feel better right away. Gaz, that does the trick right good, doesn't it? His nose flushed even redder, and a crooked smile appeared under his bushy mustache. Thank you, girlie. You're very welcome. Now, do you need help getting back to your cave to rest? Old Dom Digger needs nobody help no how. I can get places. He threw the thermos and the empty potion bottle down in the snow and hobbled back up the mountainside at a good pace, disappearing into the woods halfway up. Gutter blasted COW folk think you can fix everything. You're welcome, Lexi muttered good-naturedly, picking them both up. She took one last breath of fresh, cold air, shuffling her feet and putting off the inevitable. There was only one more job, the fen. She rolled her eyes and tried to remember where she'd left the bug spray. Okay, Lex, just go and get it over with. With a mighty sigh, she tucked the thermosin bottle inside her parka and left Winterworld. The fen was as bad as she remembered. The metal tang of swamp water coated her tongue and the back of her throat. The air was hot and thick, settling on her skin like clammy hands, and it didn't feel like she was breathing it so much as chewing and swallowing it. For a moment, Lexi wondered why Fenhallow needed to have such a horrible habitat. But her mother's voice spoke in the back of her head. Every creature deserves a safe place to heal. Waggling her head in irritation, Lexi pushed on through the hanging vines and thick vegetation. Mosquitoes swarmed her the moment she ducked through the magical gate and didn't stop the entire time she fed the ipshorns, scaly, toothy creatures that jumped up from the muck to catch the handfuls of medicated mealworms Lexi tossed. One more week, Mom had promised. Their scale rot would be cured and they'd be gone. Lexi couldn't wait to send them packing. She threw the last of the worms up in the air and turned to run, ignoring the hypnotic pull of the will-o'-the-wisps as they glowed from further in the misty fen. She didn't have time for distractions, not with so many questions still unanswered. Swatting at her arms and face, she raced back through the gate and headed for the main house. When she hit the clear skies and cool breeze in the yard, her heart lifted. It was finally time to see if Aunt Imogene was really okay. And that's the end of chapter 3. So, you got to meet a couple of different characters there. A couple that I really love. I love Dibs, the emoticorn, and I love Dom Barbagazzi. He's quite a character. I hope you enjoyed that. And I think I'm just going to say, 6 days until 11/25/25 when Fenhallow hits the bookstores. It's up for pre-order right now. You can go to my website, tldemons.com. You can get the ebook is up. The paperback is up for pre-order. You can actually even order signed copies or book plates. If you have a book and you want me to autograph it, but I'm not in your area, I can mail you a signed book plate. And I also have a little book bundle that you can buy that comes with the book and the bookmark, which kind of looks a lot like the book cover. I don't have it yet. It's still coming. And you also get, if you pick the book bundle, you get a character letter from one of the characters, and it's random. So you don't know who it's going to be, but they'll send you a letter welcoming you to the series. So if anybody has any questions, now's the time to ask. And if not, scared of mosquitoes? Yeah, they're big mosquitoes, Janita. Then I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you for being here. If you were here all 3 nights, awesome. If you were here for just 1 or 2, even awesome. I appreciate the support. And I will be talking to you guys again soon. All right. Have a good night.